Every video I make, I upload 90 times, 90 times. Yeah.
Wow. Disruption. Welcome to Creative Disruption. Thank you everyone for joining in and tuning in. I'm very lucky to have Nusire from Nas Daily on this podcast with us. Nusire, welcome. Thank you so much for making time for this.
Ricky Ray Butler, my friend. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, hey, Nusire, you have done such a good job being like a cross-platform creator. And I think you first started on Facebook. Is that correct?
That's correct. I was a Facebook first creator and a Facebook last creator. I was.
and what platform are you finding yourself leaning more into right now?
So the first 4 years of Nas Daily, I was like, I'm only on Facebook. I want to be a Facebooker. I banned my videos from YouTube. I requested to take them down. I didn't put my videos on Instagram. Wow. Nothing. I requested to take down the channel because I really just want I had a principled approach to being big on one platform. Now it's like the approach is to be as diversified as possible because everything has become commoditized. Now, shockingly, my biggest platform is YouTube, thanks to YouTube Shorts.
Wow, that's a big shift. Have you been a part of the beta of rev share with YouTube Shorts? Has it been lucrative?
Yeah, the creator fund. I mean, is the creator fund or the beta of the rev share?
The creator fund.
Yeah. But it's not lucrative because it's capped at 10K. So the most you would get is 10K, but it's better than nothing. At least they're trying. Unlike Instagram. Instagram is probably the slowest, least creator-friendly platform I know in my life. And so I really think they just don't give a fucking flying fuck. Sorry, no cursing. They don't give a damn about creator monetization. And I think it's just a really sad situation what we're ended up with. So I, and I think RevShare starts in YouTube in February, so that's exciting. TikTok I've given up on for monetization. So actually, ad revenue for us is 5% of our revenue.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
just ad revenue. So your products and tools. So I'm going to go deeper into that.
Maybe 10%.
No, 10%. That's wow, 10%. Now that's something that for everyone to remember because 69% of creators actually say that the biggest form of revenue is coming from brands and brand deals. I'm going to assume with you, Nusire, that most of your deals most of your revenue comes just from your own products, from Nas.io, from Nas Academy. Is that a good assumption?
That's a half accurate assumption. So actually half our revenue comes from Nas Academy and Nas.io. The other half comes from production. So early on, I didn't want to build a company that's based on ads, and I didn't want to build a company that's based on my face. Those are the two number one and number two priorities that I had, because your face gets old. Your face gets old, and creators are recycled every 4 or 5 years. You don't want the old news creator; you want the new news creator. So because of that, I made a strategic thing to create a production company that works with governments, with brands to create content for them on an annual recurring basis. So that's been really important. And also we created our own Nas Summit, which is also a revenue source for us. So we're trying to control our own destiny. Even if all social media died tomorrow, I should be able to still not fire anybody. That's the goal.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, with the production business, there's got to be challenges of scale there, right?
Yeah, the production business. Yes, the production business is $6 million in revenue per year, $3 million profit. It keeps you afloat. It makes your life really good. But I think it'll cap out at 10. But then Nas.io and Nas Academy, it's a venture-funded business, $23 million in venture funding. That could go to $1 billion, but that's an equity play. And so that makes another, 6 million or 5 to 6 million or so. So that's kind of where we're at. But that one loses money. So Nas.io loses money because it's a technology play. So these are my books, my open books, basically.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, so there's only a couple other creators I've actually met that were as extreme as you are about just making sure you do not have to live, through a platform or through a centralized organization. and yeah, obviously it's working for you, and I think that's smart for the long haul, to diversify what you're working on, and what you're focused on. So
You know
let's talk
why
about
that? You
you.
know why that is, Ricky? You know why that is?
Why?
Because I built my channel on like short content. 1 minute video is my brand, and so
Mm-hmm.
if I was making long videos on YouTube and getting paid 50K per video that I'm making from ad revenue, I would make that my primary thing, and I would just spit out long videos. But I don't know how to make long videos, and so 1 minutes have never been monetized, not on YouTube, not on Facebook, nowhere. And that's why, I realized I cannot make long videos, and I cannot make ad revenue.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah.
so it's interesting. That's interesting. So so you were around during Vine, but I had an employee who I didn't feel like was really good at editing or doing long videos.
Yeah.
And I think I even told him, I was like, you know what, you should just not focus on this, just focus on other things. You don't need to be a director in Hollywood or on
Yeah.
YouTube. Well, long story short, he quits his job with us and says, I'm going to go pursue Vine. And I'm like, okay, good luck. And he became one of the
And
top Vine stars, Jordan Bert. He's an OG. He's no longer making as much content anymore. I think here and there on TikTok and Instagram. But
wow.
Jordan Bert became he had multi-million follow. I mean, I think he had up to 4 to 5 million followers, and was one of the first
Wow.
to break a million, I believe, on Vine. And
That's crazy.
yeah, so there's just different ways of creating content, and it's all content. It's just different.
Yeah, but
And
that's really the problem, because Jordan Bort is no longer relevant. So what's he doing? That's scary.
yeah, I have to catch up with him. But
Yeah.
I think he's probably okay. But so we start talk about your background. So where did you start out? I know you have a very impressive academic background, but also, I mean, you were doing something completely different. I mean, you were working tech with Venmo before, right? So tell us a little bit, what your background, and then how did you first start creating?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Israel as a Palestinian. Complicated background, do not recommend. Then I moved to I moved to Harvard. Luckily, I got a scholarship. I studied economics because I'm interested in money, just like the way money works. Um,
Mhm.
and then and then I became very interested in technology and the way technology works. And so I became a software engineer for 2 years at PayPal, which is Venmo. I was at Venmo, not PayPal. And
So you worked
at
with
some point,
Ikram.
yes, I worked with Ikram, our
Yeah,
mutual friend. Ikram owns a
yeah,
percentage
I've
of
tried him a couple
Nas
times.
Daily. That's so funny. At some point, I realized, there's an opportunity in content, and early on, I was making a Facebook status update, and I would get 60 likes, and then my roommate would get 5 likes, and I would be asking myself, why is my roommate getting 5 likes, and he's like 10 times better looking than me, 10 times smarter, 10 times more interesting. Why am I getting 60 likes? So there must be something there that the way I talk seems to resonate with people. So I was like, I'm going to take a chance at that. And I'm going to take a chance on myself. And so I started making content, and I quit my job, quit New York, left America, started making 1,000 videos in 1,000 days. It took me hundreds of trial until Nas Daily finally succeeded. And now my goal is not to be the biggest content creator. In fact, that's the past. My goal is to build a big technology company out of what we have built. So that's really the next
Mm.
goal.
Yeah, and that makes sense. With Nas Academy and Nas.io. Well,
Yeah.
so you were just making just regular posts, and you thought to yourself, "Whoa, there's something here."
Yes. There's something here. That's really all it is. There's something there.
Oh, that's interesting. No, so I was an OG when it came to creator or influencer marketing way back when. I've been doing it for about 15 years, but there was a time where I first started building a community on a platform that was in a way competing with Facebook people. And back then, you only had the localized networks. And I remember just thinking, whoa, if someone has 200 followers, we can get a big percentage of those followers to join our platform. And our target audience was 20,000, and we ended up getting 19,000, 22,000 people on Facebook, and and we got 19,000 of them to join our other platform. That was a competing local
So,
platform.
so you built the platform?
Yeah. It was called BYU.com, Build Your Universe.
BYU.com?
Yeah.
It was called
Yeah.
BYU.
It was BYU.com. It was for sale, and we took it. And so, we built up this community. I mean,
Does it have
the
anything to do with
majority of
Mormons?
it was called Build Your Universe, but we were targeting a specific group in Provo, Hawaii, and Idaho.
Okay.
So a little bit.
I get, yes, I get it.
And it worked really well. It monetized really well. We had to shut it down, and I'll discuss those details later. But what was interesting is I remember.
And now BYU.com belongs to the university, by the way.
It does.
You sold it?
We reached a consensus with them. So they can have that URL.
So you didn't sell it; you're forced to sell it.
A little, but so it was one of those things where I was in my young 20s. I was experimenting, etc., and having that experience of working both on like MySpace and Facebook, and we actually ended up opening up to the broader like community.
Yeah.
Like got me ready. So when I saw these YouTubers, start coming up and creating content, everyone else thought like, oh, this is crappy content with these teenagers making, these weird videos. But like, I looked at those engagement metrics and I thought, whoa, this is like huge. And it's going to be the future of TV, if not bigger than TV. And it is bigger than TV now. And wow. and I started working with it, but it was based on a project. Just working with creators on Facebook, and these were not influencers. These were people that just had influence in that community, and we thought influence was 200 followers. A lot has changed since then.
Very interesting.
And so, Sarah, there's a lot of things happening right now. I mean, do you feel like? I mean, we were just talking about how YouTube is obviously taking monetization more seriously than anywhere else. I've talked to like top creators on like TikTok, and they're not making money on TikTok. Is there anyone that's going to go toe to toe with YouTube on rev share monetization with creators? Like, do you see any signs of any like platform, taking a serious step forward for progress?
That's a good question. I think the next form of monetization is not going to be based on ads views. Like, I just think that like this model of like, to make any money, you need to get 1 million views and above. Like, I think that model like really favors the top 1% of the top 1%. I just feel like there's a better way to do this. And I don't know exactly what it is, but I feel like smaller communities can make much more money than like millions of people watching content for free. So, and this is why we built Nas.io, because I think in the future, people are gonna rather, have a community of 5,000 people, each one giving them $2, but them meeting each other and learning from each other, then getting, 50 million views. So I think most people will just, use TikTok to get distribution and then just monetize somewhere else. So I don't see anybody really competing with YouTube, but also I don't see that this model of advertising, I just don't see it working in 30 years. I don't know why. It just does not seem sustainable. I don't know.
Ad avoidance is at all-time high. You have 90% of the globe skipping ads. You have almost 50% using ad blocker. I mean, people are avoiding the advertising like the plague. And so it's going to have to become
really good at it.
That's one of the Well, it's one of the reasons why we've invested, in like owning the biggest creator and influencer marketing company, as well as the biggest product placement company in the world. And it's because we're leaning in and betting that, the future of monetizing content is going to be inside the content rather than just outside the content, because people don't want to see a fourth advertisement. It's maybe cool to marketers, but consumers aren't as thrilled to see it, especially 3 or 4 times.
But don't you think that like even inside content is very easily skippable, like in a way, especially those like ad breaks on YouTube? Like now I know exactly how many clicks I need to click to like skip something.
Yeah, and that even creates even a better argument for like product placement, or doing an actual collab with the creator that's authentic to him, their audience, as well as to their content. Um, because when you're inside of it and you're actually a part of the storytelling and you're part of the content without being too intrusive or
Yeah.
disruptive, we've learned, the data has shown us that when you have the brand and the creator reaching a consensus, um,
Yeah.
the audience, feels like the brand has empowered the content rather than disturbed the content, and has
It's
gotten
true.
behind one of the creators that they love to be able to do what they're doing full time. And
That's
so,
true.
but however, it's more manual, and there's a lot of innovation, to gamify that process. Because if a brand starts working with a bunch of creators and realizing that, oh, great, that we're getting a good ROI or a good return on advertising spend here, the next issue is, how do you scale it? And most marketing teams aren't the best when it comes to supply chain or systems and processes of herding cats. Working with not hundreds but thousands and thousands of content creators is really hard. However, the inventory exists to have a Super Bowl ad every week, but it's very hard to
Yeah.
navigate this huge blue ocean of 200 million creators and figure out, okay, who to prioritize and how do I work with more without killing myself. And
Yep.
and so that's the challenge, is scale right now. And that's one of the reasons why we've invested millions of dollars in AI, to be able to get technology that learns like a human, scales like a machine, and can optimize what humans do at a much higher scale.
Mm.
And so I think there's a lot of innovation that's going to be happening, but I think there's also going to be a lot of creators finding things like Nas.io, or like launching their own product lines, and getting really good at that. I mean, what
Yeah.
Mr. Beast Burger has done and what Prime has done has been very inspiring.
Yeah.
And so the question I have for you is, like, I mean, are you also seeing success with merch? Like, I mean, are you selling a lot of those T-shirts that you're wearing right now?
No, I've never done merch. I've never done merch.
You never
I
sold this T-shirt that you created?
No, I only sell it for like personal use. I use it for personal use, and then I give it to my friends. But I never really I never did any concerted like effort into like actually selling it. I built it. I built a shop, but I never actually marketed it. And I think it came to a realization that, like, one, I don't want to build a cult. I don't want a cult following, everybody like wearing the same T-shirt as I am. So
I
this for
do.
me is like a personal. I know you're Mormon. I get it.
Former.
I'm dating one.
I'm creating my new religion now.
But also, like, I didn't start Nas Daily to sell clothes. I think some other people do it much better than me, but this is not why I started Nas Daily. I started Nas Daily for a different mission, and I would like to stick to that mission. I want to
Sure.
sell things. I want to sell experiences, education, technology. Those are the three things I want to sell. And I think technology is one thing I can do that no other creator can do. And this is what I want to be good at. I mean, other creators can do, but it's like very expensive and very hard. Jack Conte is
Casey
the
Neistat
inspiration.
tried doing it with Beam, and it didn't really work
Yeah,
out that super
didn't
well,
work.
did it?
So that's why Jack Conte is my hero.
Patreon has done amazing things, and like Jack Conte was really early on in the scene.
Yeah.
I wish I would have invested right when he started. That
Oh,
would have been a
man.
good decision. Patreon's
Totally.
doing a lot of cool stuff. So let's talk about Nas.io. So you mentioned just earlier that you want to get people to get like 5,000 followers, where those 5,000 followers pay them $2 a month. Explain that. Like, I mean, how are you building these micro communities?
So look, in the first 10 years of social media, if you had 50,000 followers on YouTube, that was a 50,000 community. The next time you upload a video, the same people will see it, right? Social media allowed you to build a community. As of this year, it is impossible to do that. The number of followers on TikTok is useless. The number of followers on Instagram is becoming useless, and same on YouTube Shorts. So it's impossible to build a community anymore on top of these social media platforms. Facebook groups have become a different product. It's like we need a world where there's post-Facebook groups. So that's why Discord is blowing up. So I think that in the world, there's a massive gap where creators want to build intimate, private spaces for their followers to meet each other. Okay? So we call it a community. So let's say a travel community, a coder community, a software engineer community, whatever it is. Right now, to do that, it's very, very difficult. Email lists are not enough. Discord is not enough. WhatsApp is not enough. Nas.io helps you build a community with an all-in-one solution, right? And the beauty of it is, like, I think of it like a next generation Patreon, right? You can build a community that's free. People can join. Inside this community, you can create paid events, paid courses. You can create a fucking bank. We're building a bank for the community where people chip in and you have this money that you do whatever you want with it, right? So it's like there's a lot of cool things you can do when you have an intimate, small community. And you can also do a lot of community commerce. So Nas.io is the infrastructure powering these creator communities as well as business communities. Every business has a social media manager, right? In the future, every business is going to need a community manager. What do you do after somebody buys from you, not before somebody buys from you? So I think that the world is heading more and more towards communities, and we just want to play in that world.
And so, what type of content would they be publishing on the Nas.io community or like a platform?
So we're not trying to compete with TikTok. There's no like content upload. What Nas.io does, it sits on top of Discord, and it sits on top of WhatsApp and Facebook groups. So all the content, it's like becomes a place where you manage, the community, as opposed to a place where people go to consume content. Think of it like, Salesforce is a CRM for sales, and then Nas.io is CRM for community management.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. And so do you make it so these creators can own their community? Like literally have their phone numbers, have their emails.
Yes.
Have
That's the future.
Data? Okay.
Yes. With one click, you can download all the data, take it wherever the hell you want to go. The biggest problem with Discord is that, so basically it's a layer on top of Discord. The problem with Discord is that you get 50,000 people on Discord, and first of all, they don't know how to use the software. Second of all, you don't get their data. Third of all, you'll never hear from them again. And so with this layer on top, when somebody joins your Discord through Nas.io, you get their email and their phone number. And then now you can reach them on email, on phone number, and on Discord, okay? This community is yours. You actually own it. And then you can download the data and do whatever you want with it. And you can charge them. You can do monetization, memberships, all the stuff, things that Discord does not allow you to do.
No, that's fascinating. No, I mean, I'd love to hear more about this because, I think there's a lot that can happen there. And I think those are the two things that creators want, right? They want to own their community. And they want to own their data. And,
yes.
And, so no, I think it's definitely going in that direction. And it's kind of cool that, it's what supports other platforms. Do you use Discord yourself?
Now I do. Now, finally I got into it, but it took me a year of trying to get into it. So the reason Discord is a $10 billion company is because there's a gap in the market for a community software. That's not Facebook groups. That's the only reason Discord is big. If I build a community for my NFT project or my coin, I need a place where my members interact. And Facebook groups does not cut it, and Twitter does not cut it. So I like Discord because it fills a need, but I just think I'm excited for the world post Discord.
That's awesome. How many creators do you have using it right now?
We just launched yesterday, Ricky.
So I saw the commercial. And I was wondering if it was very fresh.
It's very fresh. It's fresh off the oven. We just launched yesterday. We have, I think, 11,000 people, creators using it. Almost 100,000 members.
That's a lot.
Communities. It's a lot. But you still have
24 hours is huge.
But you still have these issues, right? We still have a lot of issues like bugs, and you still have usage problems and all that stuff. So we're gonna fix that in the next 5 years and introduce a shit ton of things. I'm really excited about community banking. We're going to allow any freaking creator to build a bank with their members, like a credit union, okay? And then you guys can pool the money and do things for the community, and you can see where every dollar goes because you're a member of this community. I think what you can do in intimate settings.
That also sounds like an SEC nightmare.
Well, not if you're operating outside America.
Right legal support.
Yeah, but if we're actually outside of America, so you can do this using crypto. Quite easily, right? But it doesn't have to be called crypto. but it's
Yeah.
just like the infrastructure to be crypto. But anyway, I just think there's community commerce. I'll tell you something. Who knows you better than the Facebook algorithm? Your community leader. You trust them much more. If your community leader at the BYU church says, buy this camera, I mean, no matter what fucking algorithm shows up, you're gonna buy that camera because your community leader said buy this camera. So the ability for commerce in communities is massive.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's, I think one of the issues that the main platforms have had is figuring out how to really leverage e-commerce. Like, I don't think there's any winners yet between, I mean, I was betting on TikTok to kill it when it came to,
Yeah.
I mean, like live shopping and all that, because the counterpart platform in China, I mean, is now one of the biggest competitors to Alibaba when it comes to like driving, digital sales, e-commerce sales. And
kind of crazy.
Yeah, and so I mean, we haven't been able to crack that in the West, and that's, I mean, there needs to be innovation there. So maybe it is more like micro communities that that will buy products on a new platform outside of Amazon or Shopify.
This is my guess.
No, that's very interesting. So, Nusar, that like I run a company called TubeBuddy, and we have like 12 million users, and creators that use it. Like around like 20% of YouTube channels are now using it. A lot of these are up and coming creators that are just getting started, or they've been doing it for a while and they haven't like broken through. So what advice would you give to these millions of creators that are trying to grow their presence, grow their audience, and grow their revenues?
I think the success rate of like a successful creator, people don't talk about the success rate. Like I see hundreds and hundreds of people trying to make it big. They can't do it. So I think YouTube and Instagram and TikTok have killed quite a few dreams before, more dreams than they've achieved. But I think actually, if I were to bet now, I would say to people, you should go where distribution is first, and then everything else comes second. In the distribution right now, the king of distribution is TikTok. Hands down, the king of distribution. After that comes YouTube. After that comes Facebook. After that comes Instagram. Instagram is terrible at distribution. So because of that, I would say, like, don't actually become a YouTuber. Try to be a TikToker, at least for a year. Get 10 million on TikTok, get the brands, get the name, and then figure out how to create content for YouTube. And that's exactly what I did. I doubled down on Facebook for the first 4 years, and then I became a YouTuber. It's just much easier.
And was that the original strategy, is like going into this platform that's maybe testing new tools? I guess there's some like logic there of like taking advantage of when they're launching new tools to be the first to benefit from those and get benefits from the algorithm by doing the right things. Was that always the plan, was to start on Facebook and then migrate over to YouTube?
No. So the truth be told, the plan was to just be a Facebooker and just like build the biggest Facebook channel ever, because I assumed that Facebook is going to be the next YouTube. And I was assuming that Facebook Watch is going to be an independent app where people can watch short content. This is 5 years ago. It's basically TikTok. And so but they didn't do it. They kept everything in the same app. People just quit Facebook. And then it's just they did not innovate fast enough on video. And so because of that, I think Facebook lost the race for video and content creators. There are no Facebookers that I know of. That's not a thing anymore. And it could have been a thing. So I'm just I would say really disappointed that Facebook did not deliver on the promise and the potential it had. That's why I said, well, I got to save my ass and I need to diversify. So here we go to YouTube.
That's interesting. I mean, it seems like Facebook might be, picking and choosing who's winning. I mean, let me give you an example. I don't know if you saw the episode where we had What's Inside on. And I don't know if you're familiar with, Dan Markham from What's Inside, but, it's basically him and his son, and they cut things open. You're familiar with him?
Vaguely.
Yeah. So, vaguely. Okay. So he's mainly been on YouTube, and he says as of this year, now this is like a good 5-6 months ago, he says this year, his smaller audience in Facebook is doubling the revenue a month
Yes.
that his YouTube videos are seeing.
Yes.
And so, I mean, the first thing I thought was like, well, how long is that going to last? Because YouTube, I mean, Facebook, Zuckerberg is always switching their priorities and what they're focusing on, and they haven't been the most friendly to, I guess, ecosystems of people. Like when back in the day, I was a part of a platform where we launched an application on Facebook, got 80 million users, and as fast as we built it up, they took us away just as quickly.
Yep.
And
Yep.
And so, I mean, are you noticing other creators are seeing benefits, monetary benefits from Facebook right now that,
Yes.
that
Many.
like sustainable?
Facebook has a
or
lot
less
of money.
sustainable?
Facebook has a lot of money. I've seen somebody who made $1 million in 2 weeks on Facebook from ad revenue. However, I think Facebook right now is prioritizing new creators. That's why this person maybe is growing really well. New pages, new creators, because they just want to like get an ecosystem going. Which means if you have 20 million followers on Facebook, that's not a that doesn't it's not a it doesn't perform as well as it used to be. So it's good for him. I think it'll last maybe 2 years, but I think it'll die eventually. I think I've seen consistently pages grow and then they reach a cap and then they just die. And that's one of the biggest flaws of Facebook.
And that happened with your own, growth, because you have 21 million followers on Facebook. Did you just notice that the monetization? Oh, pardon?
We have 40 across 15 different pages.
Oh, okay. You have 40 million over. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. So,
yeah.
Have you noticed across all those pages that monetization is slowing down?
Yes, like big time. And I'm not the only one. Like a lot of people are. So it's been really. But again, I predicted this would happen, and so like now because also we've moved to Facebook Reels. We no longer upload long videos. Facebook Reels have no monetization. So because of that, Facebook ads is very negligible. But I think Reels still give you some distribution on Facebook. So it's still okay. But also it's like at some point you got to ask yourself, who is this person watching the Facebook videos? It stopped being my friends and your friends. It just became strangers. It's kind of like putting content on Snapchat. Who watches the content on Snapchat? You don't know. Some random ass people. So I would say it's been a sad ending for my Facebook journey. I hope they rebound, but I still believe in Meta. I buy stocks of Meta every single week. I think it's the best company in the world.
Well, it's big, yeah, and arguably too big to fail. But that I don't know. That's very interesting. But I mean, they need to get themselves in gear. I think on like supporting all creators, not just the new ones, because I don't think that's going to benefit them in the long term. And I think all these platforms are waking up to this, that it's the creators that bring value to the platform. I mean, it's the people that are creating content and building communities and getting people to return that are really like bringing the value. And they've got to figure out how to scale up how they do rev share. No, that's very fascinating. What percentage of your viewers, and let me know if you look at this data point, but what percentage of your viewers on a typical Nas Daily video are actual subscribers on YouTube?
Ooh, it's a good question. I can look it up right now, but I think it's like what percentage are already subscribers? Yeah.
Subscribe. Yeah.
I would say it's in like the 50% range, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know if it's high
that's
or low.
That's pretty high. Yeah.
Is that high?
No, that's actually really good. Well, so that's another thing is, even with YouTube, there's some challenges for creators where not all their subscribers are going to see the videos, and so like I mean, so I think like what you're building is a huge opportunity for those creators to have a medium that makes it so whenever they try to connect to their audience, the audience gets an alert that they're trying to connect.
Okay, I have it. I have the deal. Okay. I have it. So I have 4 in one day I had 4.5 million returning viewers and 1.5 new viewers. So basically 25% are new viewers, shockingly.
Okay.
And 75% are returning viewers.
Oh, that's great.
I don't know what that means, but sure.
No, that's a high percentage. That's really high.
Yeah, I think our YouTube is doing pretty well. I think it's averaging what I think 400 million views a month or something like that. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Um, so I have no problems with YouTube. It's a nice platform. It has withstood the test of time, which is really
Hmm.
shocking. Considering not a whole lot of people were working and innovating much on YouTube, but I think now that's changing.
No, yeah, I think they're making pivots and they're doing them like boldly enough. And I think when they announced that a 45% rev share on shorts, it was good that they were the first ones to do that because no one else
Yes,
has made that type of commitment yet. And
totally.
and I was actually wondering like why in the hell are they even doing a fund? Like they should go straight into rev share, but easier said than done. And I think they figured out how to like finish what they needed to finish in the back end to do that. But no, I
Yeah.
think that's awesome. So Nusar, like what you're famous for having that 1 minute video. What data do you look at that really help you, continue to be successful? And
What
if it's
data?
different platforms, just go as deep as you want with this.
So actually, my data is pretty like bird's eye view. Like I just look at like the ratio between the likes and the views. So for every 1 million views, I want to get 50,000 likes. If it's below
Okay.
that, it becomes problematic. So that's like my number that I like. So 1 out of 20. And I also look at the number of views total. Like if it's less than 300 million a month, then I get it starts to alert system. We're pretty happy with 500.
Mm.
And then roughly we
It's an alarm
average,
system of that you need to change your messaging or you need to change your
yeah,
content.
or like content is not going well, whatever. And then maybe new followers between 750 to a million per month. That's kind of like, that's the range that I'm comfortable with. If it falls below 750, then we have problems. If it falls below 300 million, we have a problem. But again, I spend 20% of my life on content, my 80% of time is spent now on company building and technology building. And so I cannot focus on it as much. And I'm lucky to have a team of 40 people now that do this
Mhm.
thing and help me create content. Um, but I just think people need to realize that it's very difficult to create content forever, especially on a daily basis. It's very, very
Mhm.
difficult. And I think creators may have a 5-year shelf life on average. Um, but yeah, those are the numbers I look
Where,
at.
where, where, where did you get that data point? Just out of curiosity.
I
I
mean,
mean, because it seems like you're quite the
yeah,
student of like the life cycle of creators, and so
yeah.
do you think like it's 5 years of like once they hit like a multi-million viewer audience, and then they just have to figure out how to keep that for 5 years, or like I mean, what have you observed?
Well, what I've observed is that platforms will work on the best interest of the platform. So the best interest of the platform is to recycle people, to always show new faces, new things, new content, new types of content. If PewDiePie is still the biggest thing on YouTube, like for 20 years, then YouTube will become stale. So I think it's like
Mm.
it's in the best interest of the platform to recycle creators. So there's no way Mr. Beast can continue to get the same views in the next 5 years or so. I think just people want different content, different people, different faces, and so the platform is just going to show it to them. Um, so and I saw it happen on Facebook. There's like big waves of kind of creators, then it dies, then new thing comes and it dies. So we're all part of cycles, and we have to be very cognizant of that. Very few people are able to get out of the cycle and go to the next level, which is maybe TV, mainstream media, mainstream attention. That's really good for them. Most people just die with the cycle dying, and then they just become real estate investors. They just become, just do real estate on the side and just call it a day and do, party on the side. So um, that's where it comes from.
um,
Yeah.
what other creators were successful from migrating from Facebook to YouTube? Because you,
Ooh.
you hear about the Vine invasion, and it's also happening now with
Yeah.
TikTok creator going over.
Darman.
Um,
Darman is one of the best. Darman has been able to really, like, he started on Facebook like me, with me actually, and then he's been able to really just move away from Facebook completely to become a YouTube creator, and that was probably the best thing he's ever done. So yeah, Darman is the one.
Any other creators that like left Facebook that were successful on YouTube?
Jay Shetty, I would say, is another one. Jay Shetty has been able to like really go mainstream. That's pretty successful, right? Like he was like just a Facebook guy, and then now he's like mainstream Apple Podcasts and Netflix in Los Angeles. So it's cool how to see some people go from like social media to like elevate to the next step. And I think people need to figure out what their next step is. For Jay Shetty, it's Hollywood, and it's great. He's doing really well. For Darman, it's his own production company. For me, it's a technology company. For Mr. Beast, it's content. And it's nice to see people taking next steps.
Well, figuring out how to like monetize your community or empower them in a much more innovative way, I think is going to be really exciting. I think it's going to be exciting when creators like yourself build your own platforms. That's something that I've noticed with my own involvement in different businesses becoming a thing and becoming very successful. I also excited about a day where creators figure out how to compete in the hardware industry, where they create their own technology and maybe do exclusive distribution through a certain type of technology. I think it's also very possible. That's
probably next.
Yeah, that's probably next. And I think that is going to be very fascinating just to see how everyone evolves with that.
But Ricky, I think there's something to be told that creators are like right-brained or left-brained or whatever, and then engineers are like left-brained, right? So sometimes creators need to pair up with somebody who's a left-brained because they are right-brained, and because some of these challenges require a full brain to solve. Many creatives on YouTube can't figure out how to hire or how to build a company, or how to incorporate. So the business acumen and business skills can be lacking in many creators. So I think there's an opportunity there as well for somebody to build a company that provides the second half of the brain for these creators to build a large business.
Yeah, that's a really cool way of looking at it. Nisar, what inspires you? Like, what keeps you going? So beyond technology, what are you doing that keeps you going and keeps you wanting to build even like further?
I think, and it's a weird answer, but I think it's the prospect of peace in the Middle East. I think that's really exciting. I think there's a lot of problems in the world. I think the problems in Los Angeles are not interesting. I think the problems in China are not interesting. To me, the problems in Denmark, they're not interesting. But I find the problems in the Middle East interesting, especially Israel and Palestine. So everything I do, I think, is geared towards that battle, right? Which is like, I want to create a technology platform. I want to make a lot of money. I want to get a lot of views. I want to create a lot of content. But eventually, I want that to increase tolerance in the Middle East and ideally lead to some sort of peace. And of course, in a very small contribution, like tiny contribution. So that excites me. I want to see peace happen before I die. If that happens, then I'll just go on a beach in Mexico and just do nothing.
How do you measure peace?
If I measure peace, if somebody in America opens the TV every day for a year and does not hear about Israel and Palestine, okay, that's peace. If you're no longer making the news.
I do believe like the self-expression that we're seeing with this decentralized world of content is making it so people can become more tolerant, more educated, more inclusive. And because what we're seeing, at an all-time high is self-expression to the masses from millions, hundreds of millions of individuals. And hopefully that just makes us all of us more human, and all of us, much more understanding, and hopefully inspires us to do better as humans.
Yes.
And so I think that's a huge, tall goal that you have. But I think this is the era of humanity where I like to call the era of the artist, where it's possible, and we can push this forward.
And people like you and the technology you're building and the company you're running, makes it even more possible for people like me to exist, right? So I mean, I think it's a win-win, and that's why we either win together or lose together, so it's a very collaborative industry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think a lot of people get an interesting reaction when they hear our mission and our vision and mission, where, we want to be the architects, the destination, the protectors of the creator economy and community, to inspire you to create content, entertainment, and art. And we want everyone, to be able to do that. And I do believe in the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to be in a world where we have over 1 billion creators, and that, there's going to be a much bigger percentage of them too that are figuring out how to self-sustain. And so, that's one of the reasons why we acquired TubeBuddy, was because, we wanted to take these tools and put some real sophistication behind them with AI to make it so creators can be more accurate in their predictions and be much more not just data inspired, but data driven in growing their audiences and their revenues. And then figure out, how do we crack the code of or crack the nut for automation with creator marketing? How do we make it so we can get brand deals to tens of millions of creators a month? No one else has cracked that code, and it's going to take the next wave of technology, taking manual things and high touch things and figuring out how to make it much more turnkey, in order to crack that. And so there's a lot of things that still need to happen to make it so artists stay in control. But this is the first time they're in control, and that's a fucking beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing. Yeah. And that's a very tall order. So, best of luck with that. I think that's going to be,
well, so
going to take
where do
years.
you see your, oh, thank you. Nusar, where do you see yourself in 3 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
In 3 years, I would like to have 1,000-person company. I would like to have a substantial, like, giant business that creates technology for creators at scale. I would like to see myself doing that. In 10 years, I'd like to see myself out of the private sector, and I'd like to see myself doing different things. Public sector or
Wow.
just travel. Either go crazy or because at some point when you're 40, you ask yourself, like, I only want to work on the most meaningful thing to me. And the most meaningful thing to me has either something to do with health or life and death. Life and death, there's only two things that control life and death. It's the doctor and the politician. That's it. It's a politician's decision that you're alive today. One politician can make one decision, and you could be at war in Vietnam. So I do believe there's and also doctors are really important. So doctors or politicians are the ones that control life and death. If there's a third profession, I would love to know about it. But now I could only come up with two. So I want to do something in one of these two fields. I don't know which one, but I think when it comes to meaning, that's more meaningful than creating content.
So public sector, would you want to do that in Israel, or would you want to do that, in like Dubai?
I don't know. I don't know.
Whatever makes the most sense at the time.
Probably Israel, but I just think it'd be a fun challenge. I think it'd be a fun challenge. It would be it would be exciting because what is content creation? You're basically training yourself how to be in front of camera for for years. How to write, how to get the masses to listen, how to communicate messaging. So if you think about it, content creators are like politicians in training. And I just think that's I think you'll see a subset of creators just becoming politicians.
Yeah, that's a really good point. We haven't talked too deep about this, but we build a lot of neural networks or customized algorithms to help predict what's going to happen as a result of a video going live. How many conversions are there going to be? How many clicks are there going to be? How many views? We've also figured out how to have some breakthroughs to predict retention. And so we have both AI research and applied. And as I look at this, as we are helping different companies or brands be able to predict how successful they're going to be, I get worried about the future as well of making sure that we keep this very protected, because in a way we're modeling out persuasion, and creators, I think, subconsciously just do this better than anyone else. They build a community of people through communicating with them. And that's why they're always the best at knowing how they should collaborate with a brand, or how they should collaborate with other creators, or politicians, they know what they're, I mean, they just have like this, they're just dialed in to know a lot of the times what their audience wants and what's relevant to them.
Yes.
And as you model that at scale, you have to be very careful with who has access to that information, because it's
Yeah.
going to be data gold in the next 10 to 20 years.
That's exactly right. And it's scary, but also very exciting.
Yes.
AI assisted campaigning to get a president. I mean, that's cool. When
Yeah.
Obama does it, it's like amazing. When Trump does it, it's dangerous.
Well,
Yeah.
well, no, and then where I get excited also is like the multi-model AI technology, where that's stuff that we're leaning into pretty boldly, where you're someone that has this huge supply of content. Whenever there's a new platform, what if you could have like, AI help you just like recreate your videos for that platform specifically without you really having to do anything? As long as like the AI understands the data and what resonates and how the algorithms work, it can create content for you. And so you can take your 1,000 videos and then they can just keep reproducing them and then making them a little more relevant with the help of AI around those different nuances of different platforms that come out. I mean, that's what's going to be happening. Like, I mean, your all the content you've built up until now that you've done on Facebook and TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, I think is going to still be very valuable for future platforms. Have you repurposed a lot of your Facebook and TikTok content for YouTube, and has it been successful?
Here's a fun fact, Ricky. Every video I make, I upload 90 times. 90 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So the way we do that,
Go into this, please.
So every video we make, right, let's say a 3-minute long video, and we put it on Facebook. Great. Then we put the same video on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. Great. That's 4 uploads. Then we can create a 1-minute cut down of the same video, and it's vertical. So instead of square, it becomes vertical. So that's a 1-minute shorts. So it becomes a Facebook reel, an Instagram reel, YouTube shorts, and TikTok. So that's another 4 uploads. So that's 8 uploads for the same video idea, right? And then we localize that content to 12 different languages. Okay, Bahasa, Spanish, Portuguese, Vietnamese, and we put them on the same platforms in local languages. So that's 8 times 12, that's like 80, 96 uploads right there for the same video idea.
Wow.
And that's like for the first year. And then in 6 months, we do the same thing. We upload it again, 96 times. So if you think about it, you can really squeeze a lot of juice out of everything. Then you put it in a compilation channel and you upload that again in like a 7-minute long video compilation of short videos. And then you end up with another 5 uploads, and then local languages, another 10, another 50. So really you can upload it hundreds of times.
Wow. Well, that's putting your video to work. That's for sure. Wow, that's amazing.
Well, I'm not making any money from it, so I better fucking do something with it. Just having fun.
You have a community. You just got to figure out how to monetize your community, which you're already doing. That's awesome.
Nas.io is the future. Everybody should try it.
Yes, I'm sure people will, as a result of this. I mean, that's awesome. Well, so just going back earlier, and then we'll wrap this up. You mentioned that when people are starting out, that they should go on a new platform like TikTok or another new platform, build that up, and then migrate over to YouTube. What other advice would you give, to creators to be able to like work at the scale that you're working at? Like, I mean, you had to make some risks in order to afford all of that content creation. How do you get there?
Yeah, I think the number one is you got to have enough savings. So I had $40,000 in savings before I started, and that was really important. I think begging your way through creating content does not work. So you need to have enough savings, and you need to live in a place that's affordable. I think it boils down to the type of content you want to make. If you make shitty ass content of pranking shit like Julius, maybe you'll make some ad money, but most likely nobody's going to want to work with you. So you're not going to make that much, But if you make like really deep content like Johnny Harris, everybody's going to want to work with you because you are so premium as a brand. So you want to be a premium brand versus like a cheap shot prank content. And if you just position yourself as a premium brand, you'd be surprised how fast you can monetize. You can monetize with 10,000 followers. And that's really the trick. Don't think of content as a brand, not as just a video you're uploading.
That's great. So think of content as a brand, not just a video that you're uploading. Oh, that's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
Nusar,
Yeah.
thank you so much for your time.
Of
Great to
course.
have Nusar from Nas Daily, Nas Academy, and Nas.io. We'll never call him Nas again. I'll always call him Nusar. And thank you so much for your time, seriously. And everyone, thank you so much for joining. Please like this video and also please subscribe.